TV soap news and spoilers say that July 25, 2025, the sun rose over the manicured lawns and opulent mansions of Fairmont Crest, casting golden hues on the serene facade of a community steeped in wealth and privilege. But beneath the polished exterior of this gated enclave, secrets simmered, threatening to unravel the carefully woven tapestry of lies that held its residents together. Today, the air and beyond the gates was thick with tension, as betrayals, hidden truths, and desperate deals came to a head. For those who haven't yet caught up with the drama unfolding in this exclusive neighborhood, buckle up. This is a story of ambition, deception, and the cost of keeping secrets. Dany's Crossroads, a deal that could change everything in the heart of Fairmont Crest. Dany Monroe stood at a pivotal moment in her life. A rising star in the modeling world, Dany's striking beauty and magnetic charisma had already caught the eye of major fashion houses. But today, her best friend, Chloe Evans, arrived at Dany's sleek, modern penthouse with an offer that could propel her career to stratospheric heights, or bind her to a deal with unforeseen consequences. Chloe, a sharp-witted talent agent with a reputation for making stars, sat across from Dany at a glass-top table, her manicured nails tapping rhythmically against a folder brimming with contracts. The air was charged with anticipation as Chloe leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with ambition. "Dany, this is it," she said, her voice low and urgent. "Vogue Elite wants you as their new face. A multi-year contract, global campaigns, runways in Paris and Milan. This is the kind of deal that makes legends." Dany's heart raced. She could already envision herself on billboards, her face splashed across glossy magazine covers, her name synonymous with glamour. But as Chloe slid the contract across the table, a flicker of doubt crossed Dany's mind. The fine print was dense, and the expectations were staggering: exclusive rights to her image, grueling schedules, and clauses that seemed to demand more than just her talent. Was this the price of fame? And could she trust Chloe, her friend since their teenage years, to have her best interests at heart? As Dany hesitated, Chloe's tone softened, her eyes searching Dany's face. "You've worked so hard for this, Dany. Don't let fear hold you back. Sign this, and you're not just a model, you're a global icon." The weight of the decision pressed down on Dany, each word from Chloe a mix of encouragement and pressure. Would she take the leap, or would she sense the undercurrent of something more sinister lurking beneath the glitz and glamour? Only time would tell, but for now, Dany's future hung in the balance, a single signature away from changing her life forever. Haley's growing suspicions, a marriage on the brink across town, in a sprawling estate adorned with ivy-covered walls. Haley Richardson sat in her sunlit conservatory, her thoughts far from the blooming orchids around her. Her husband, Bill, was a pillar of Fairmont Crest, a respected lawyer whose charm and intellect had won over the community's elite. To the outside world, their marriage was a picture of perfection: elegant dinner parties, shared laughter, and a bond that seemed unbreakable. But Haley knew better. Beneath Bill's polished exterior lay a darkness that had begun to cast shadows over their life together. Haley's unease had grown over the past weeks, fueled by cryptic phone calls Bill took in hushed tones, late-night meetings he dismissed as work, and a growing distance between them. Today, as she sipped her chamomile tea, her mind replayed a conversation she'd overheard the previous night. Bill had been in his study, his voice low but sharp, mentioning a name that sent a chill down her spine: Kenny. The same Kenny who had been found dead under mysterious circumstances months ago, his death ruled an accident but whispered about in Fairmont Crest's social circles. Haley's hands trembled as she set down her cup. She knew Bill was no saint, his ambition had always had a ruthless edge, but could he be involved in something as sinister as murder? The thought was almost too much to bear. Kenny had been a rival, a man whose business dealings had clashed with Bill's clients. Had Bill's desire to protect his reputation driven him to an unthinkable act? And if so, what else was he hiding? As Haley stared out at the perfectly manicured gardens, her mind raced with possibilities. She thought of confronting Bill, of demanding the truth, but fear held her back. If Bill was capable of such darkness, what might he do to protect his secrets? For now, Haley resolved to watch and listen, to piece together the puzzle of her husband's double life. But with each passing day, the weight of her suspicions grew heavier, threatening to shatter the fragile illusion of their perfect marriage. Bill's dark secret: the man behind the mask. Bill Richardson was a man who thrived on control. In the courtroom, he was a master manipulator, weaving arguments that left juries spellbound. In Fairmont Crest, he was a respected figure, admired for his intellect and charisma. But beneath the tailored suits and disarming smile lay a man haunted by his own choices. Fans of Beyond the Gates had long suspected Bill's darker side, and today, the truth loomed closer to the surface than ever before. Months ago, in a moment of desperation, Bill had made a decision that would haunt him forever. Kenny, a brash entrepreneur with ties to Fairmont Crest's elite, had been a thorn in Bill's side, threatening to expose a shady deal that could have ruined Bill's career. In a secluded warehouse, under the cover of night, Bill had pressed a button, a literal and metaphorical trigger, that ended Kenny's life. The act was swift, calculated, and buried under layers of alibis and misdirection. To the world, Kenny's death was a tragic accident. To Bill, it was a secret he carried like a lead weight in his chest. But secrets have a way of unraveling, and Bill's carefully constructed facade was beginning to crack. Martin Richardson, Bill's cousin and a man with his own tangled web of lies, held the key to Bill's downfall. Martin knew the truth about Kenny's death, and if that truth came to light, Bill's carefully curated life would collapse. His career, his marriage, his standing in Fairmont Crest, all of it would be reduced to ashes. As Bill sat in his office, reviewing case files, his mind was elsewhere. He knew Martin was unpredictable, a man driven by his own agenda. If Martin decided to talk, Bill's life would unravel faster than he could control. The thought sent a surge of adrenaline through him, a mix of fear and defiance. He had worked too hard, sacrificed too much, to let it all slip away. Whatever it took, Bill vowed to keep his secret buried, even if it meant silencing Martin for good. Martin's edited truth. A family divided in another corner of Fairmont Crest, Martin Richardson sat in the living room of his elegant colonial-style home, facing his twin children, Tyrell and Samantha. The twins, now in their early 20s, were as different as night and day. Tyrell, with his sharp intellect and fierce loyalty to family, had always been close to their father, Bradley "Smitty" Smith. Samantha, on the other hand, was introspective and fiercely independent, her sharp intuition often leading her to question the narratives she was fed. For weeks, Martin had been spinning a carefully edited version of Kenny's story to his children. He painted Kenny as a reckless opportunist, a man whose own choices had led to his untimely death. But Tyrell and Samantha weren't children anymore, and the cracks in Martin's story were becoming impossible to ignore. Tyrell, though loyal to Smitty, couldn't shake the feeling that their Uncle Martin was hiding something. Samantha, ever the skeptic, felt a growing sense of betrayal. "You're not telling us everything, Uncle Martin," she had said the previous night, her voice trembling with frustration. "We deserve the truth." Martin's heart sank as he looked at his niece and nephew. He had always seen them as extensions of himself, a legacy to protect. But protecting them meant shielding them from the ugly truth about Kenny's death, and Bill's role in it. Martin had his own reasons for keeping silent, reasons tied to his own ambitions and alliances. But as the twins pressed for answers, he felt the walls closing in. How long could he maintain the facade? And what would happen when the truth inevitably came to light? Tyrell and Samantha. A sibling divide. Tyrell and Samantha's relationship had always been complex, a mix of love, rivalry, and unspoken understanding. But the events surrounding Kenny's death had driven a wedge between them. Tyrell, ever the pragmatist, had sided with their father, Smitty, believing that family loyalty trumped all else. Smitty had always been a larger-than-life figure, a man whose charisma and determination had built an empire in Fairmont Crest. To Tyrell, questioning Smitty's judgment, or Martin's, was unthinkable. Samantha, however, saw things differently. Her intuition told her that the story they'd been fed was a carefully constructed lie, and she couldn't shake the feeling that their family was entangled in something far darker than they realized. As she sat in her room, scrolling through old text messages and piecing together fragments of information, Samantha's resolve hardened. She would uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Today, as the twins met for coffee at a chic cafe in Fairmont Crest, the tension between them was palpable. Tyrell leaned back in his chair, his arms crossed. "Sam, you're digging into things you don't understand," he said, his tone a mix of concern and frustration. "Dad and Uncle Martin have their reasons. Why can't you just trust them?" Samantha's eyes flashed with defiance. "Because trust is earned, Tyrell. And right now, I don't trust anyone. Not Dad, not Uncle Martin, and not you if you're just going to blindly follow them." Her words hung in the air, sharp and unyielding. For a moment, the siblings stared at each other, the weight of their divide heavier than ever. But Samantha wasn't ready to give up. She had heard whispers about Kenny's death, rumors that pointed to Bill and Martin's involvement. If she could find proof, she could force the truth into the open. And if that truth implicated her own family, so be it. Samantha was done living in the shadow of lies. A community on the edge as the sun set over Fairmont Crest, the residents of Beyond the Gates went about their lives, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. Dany stood at her penthouse window, the contract still unsigned, her dreams of fame warring with her instincts. Haley sat alone in her conservatory, her heart heavy with suspicion, wondering if the man she loved was a monster. Bill, in his office, plotted his next move, determined to protect his empire at any cost. And Martin, caught between loyalty and self-preservation, faced the unraveling of his carefully constructed lies. Tyrell and Samantha, divided by their loyalties, stood at a crossroads that could redefine their family forever. Would Samantha uncover the truth about Kenny's death? Would Tyrell stand by his father, or would the weight of the truth force him to question everything he believed? And in the shadows, the specter of Bill's dark secret loomed, a ticking time bomb that could destroy them all. Fairmont Crest was a place of beauty and privilege, but today, it was a powder keg waiting to explode. As the residents navigated their secrets and schemes, one thing was clear: in Beyond the Gates, the truth was a dangerous currency, and those who held it wielded unimaginable power. What would happen next? We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. TV soap news and spoilers for more updates on Beyond the Gates.